Today at Routes America, I am joined by Warren Askew, the Vice President for Airports for Toronto Billy Bishop Airport. Hi Warren, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I guess we'll just get started. My first question to you is, 2024 marks 85 years of operation for Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport. What has the journey been like since its inception, and what have you done to mark the anniversary?
Yeah, great question. 1939 is actually when the airport opened, and it was built by our predecessor organization called Toronto Harbour Commissioners, who actually built most of the downtown waterfront in Toronto. So the airport really started to become very useful during World War II. We had the Royal Canadian Air Force training there, along with the Royal Norwegian Air Force, who was operating in exile. After the war, the airport really started to grow up as a general aviation airport. There was some limited commercial activity connecting Toronto to some limited destinations. And also, as we see today, a huge healthcare component to that. And so we're the base for Orange, the Ontario Air Ambulance Service, along with Hope Air, who's connecting residents from up north and northern communities to the healthcare that Toronto offers. And of course now, today, we've grown up to be that commercial hub. We've got some excellent airline service at the airport, and we're really looking forward to what the next 85 years will bring us.
Of course, yeah, it sounds really good. It sounds to me that there's been a lot of dynamic changes for the airport since you've started small and then you've sort of become like a sort of healthcare hub. So it's good to see that sort of change and development for the airport.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my next question to you is, what do you have in store for 2024?
Yeah, we're really leaning into our rich history. As you know, the airport started operation in 1939. We have amazing archives that we're starting to showcase some of the pieces, really outlining the construction of the airport. And really importantly to us is the development of the city around us. So that's been really neat to kind of delve into those archives and see the history. We're planning a number of different events and activations and giveaways, along with some of our partners who are celebrating milestones. Royal Canadian Air Force turns 100 this year, along with our 85th, of course. The Canadian International Air Show turns 75, and we're working with the Royal Canadian Military Institute as well on all of those fronts. So it's really months-long celebration with our partners. Our passengers are really going to see a lot of that, and it's a celebration for the next 85 years.
Again, playing to that longevity. I like how 2024 is this year of marking anniversaries for many societies and organizations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what were the closing traffic numbers for 2023, and how do they fare compared to preceding years?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a challenge for us in Canada. We finished about just over 2 million passengers for 2023, which is a significant increase from the 1.7 million that we had in 2022. We continue to recover. Our peak year, of course, was 2019, where we had 2.8 million passengers. We're really confident that we're going to see that recovery, particularly as we start to activate our US pre-clearance facility.
Okay, sure. And so why do you think there has been this sort of like rise in number, as you've mentioned?
You know, I think the airport is so uniquely positioned. We're an urban downtown airport on the lake, right in front of the city of Toronto. And over our history, passengers have really come to understand and appreciate the convenience that is. And we're really 3 kilometers away from downtown. There's ease of travel, there's convenience, we're known for our service. It's really a stress-free environment when traveling through there. And we're unique. We're on an island, we have a ferry service, so people can either take the tunnel under the lake or take in the views of downtown Toronto on our ferry. We have the complimentary shuttle that our partners Newport Aviation operates, and so people really understand and appreciate that convenience, and I think that's really what's going to drive a lot of our future success.
Understandable, especially with this year as well, with all you're offering regards to shows to the passengers as well. It's definitely going to pique interest.
Absolutely, and we're really looking forward to the FIFA World Cup. We're going to be hosting 6 games.
Oh wow!
And we're steps away from the stadium at BMO Field.
So do you think that there will be a rise in passenger traffic because of the event? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and we see the opening of our U.S. pre-clearance facility in October 2025, and that's going to be very handy for people to travel between games.
Yeah, because that will just make sort of the pre-clearance quite easy to pass everything. Yeah. Understandable. So my next question is a bit wordy, but Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport has done plenty for social responsibility, like raising awareness to human trafficking, honouring Black Canadian heritage, and donating to food banks. I'd like to start off with the reasoning behind why you thought to raise awareness to human trafficking, and to our audience who may be unclear of what to look out for. What does that exactly look like at airports?
Yeah, it's, airports don't serve themselves. We serve communities, and we really take the responsibility of that quite seriously. We do know and we recognize the fact that a lot of transportation corridors, whether it's land or air, serve as conduits for human trafficking.
Right.
And so we feel it's our responsibility to do everything that we can to disrupt that.
Yeah.
And so in that vein, in January of 2023, we partnered with the Toronto Police Service Human Trafficking Unit, as well as an organization called Not in My City.
Yeah.
And with the intent that we can equip our staff and all of our partners with the means to help disrupt that human trafficking activity. And so really what Not in My City is all about is some public-facing signage, but also a lot of education and awareness for tools, basically, for our employees and our partners to identify it, to try and disrupt it, and do it in a way that doesn't put the victim at risk.
Right.
And so we really take that quite seriously on behalf of the people that use our airport and our communities, and of course the people that are victims of that activity. And so the learning module was very effective. I've taken it myself. It's free. It takes about 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And anyone can visit the website. It's notinmycity.ca.
Okay.
And I think it's very useful for airports in general to become familiar with those signs of trafficking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's wonderful, empowering work that you are doing to release these victims from the tough circumstances.
Absolutely.
So the airport has helped celebrate the passage of Bill 41, which is a framework to prohibit the collection of coerced debts and aim to prioritize the protection of human trafficking survivors. Can you tell us a bit more about why you were interested in supporting this?
Yeah, it's, the more I learned about what's happening to victims of human trafficking, the more diabolical it becomes, and you really understand that it's not just the activity of human trafficking that victims have to face. If they do escape it, if they are disrupted, they have to face the consequence of coerced debt, which is debt that's been incurred using their identity. And so they escape the situation that they're in, and then they're faced with huge financial hurdles. And so that's what Bill 41 was all about. It was passed in the Ontario legislature. I was proud to stand with the Concord ADEX Survivors Fund and our local member of provincial parliament, Chris Glover, to celebrate the passage of that. And again, it really comes back to supporting victims, supporting our communities, and making sure that folks that have been caught up in human trafficking really have a good chance to have a normal life.
Like a clean slate to start again. Fantastic. So in marking Black History Month, Billy Bishop, Toronto City Airport, hosted textile art installations by local Black poet Nadine Williams. Why is it important to honour identities like Williams's and celebrate Black Canadian achievements?
Yeah, Fabric of Our Being was the name of the piece, and it fuses art and poetry, and Miss Williams did a great job on that. And it really it helps commemorate the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent.
Right.
The decade in Canada is marked by Black History Month. And we were really pleased to be joined by Dr. Jean Augustine, who is the former MP that led the motion for the Canadian government to recognize that.
Right.
And so it was important for us to really show and reflect the community that we serve. And we were really pleased to have Dr. Augustine, Miss Williams, and the local school, actually, Waterfront School. We had some of the students that worked on the piece with us. And it was really a fun time. It was quite eye-opening. Miss Williams did a great job with some of her poetry that she recited as well. But it's one of the activities that we recognize Black History Month at the airport, and of course we recognized the Project T-Dot, Black Hip Hop History in Toronto, brought to us by Newport Aviation, one of our partners at the airport. And of course, we worked with Porter Airlines as well, celebrating Black culture at the airport.
Right. So there's a lot that the airport has done to promote Black identity. Fantastic. So it was also reported that the airport has greened the majority of its operations from renewable sources, and the ground handler, Porter Airlines, electrified its fleet of ground power units. This is a very impressive achievement. Can you speak more about how you achieved it?
Yeah, the airport, like I said, is unique. We sit on an island. We're surrounded by Lake Ontario, and so we're very cognizant of the environment in which we operate. And because of that decision in 2010, the airport decided to source all of its electricity from Bullfrog Power. And Bullfrog is generating power using renewable means, so wind and solar. And we're the only airport in Canada to do so.
Okay.
And what that's done is it's cut 20,000 tons of emissions since 2010. And we're the only airport in Canada that has done that work and committed to that. Other investments that we've made through the years, and the most recent one in 2021 was the electrification of our ferry. And so because we're on an island, we bring all of our goods across on the ferry. And so that ferry electrification project now has eased emissions by about 530 tons a year. Certainly the neighbors have noticed a change in the noise from the ferry service. And we're continuing to invest. And so Newport Aviation right now is taking its shuttle fleet and electrifying those, and we'll soon see 6 of those electrified shuttles on the roads in the summertime. That's expected to reduce emissions by another 2,100 tons. So it's really important for us that we have that environment in which we can continue to invest in those green projects. But it's really helped us in terms of our ESG program that's becoming more and more robust as we move ahead.
Right.
I think it's really important to notice as well, because we're downtown, we really have the ability to attract our passengers into other, or encourage them to use other means. And so 41% of the passengers that we have leave the airport by means other than car. And so they're using public transit, those shuttle buses, they're walking, and even in the winter I see people walking in the sidewalk through the snow with their roller bags. And they cycle. And in the summertime we're very popular from that regard as well. So all of these things really come together to help us green what is happening at the airport.
I'd like to ask you as my final question, what is keeping you up at night?
Many things keep me up at night. Yeah, I think globally, understanding technology and where that's going and how it impacts our passenger experience and trying to keep ahead of that is just something that's always there. I think specifically for us, we've dealt with pilot shortages, particularly in the regional flying realm. Specifically for the airport, though, it's what we call our tripartite agreement and renewing that. And so that's the governance agreement between the airport, the Transport Canada, our federal partner, and the City of Toronto. And it expires in 2033, which is 9 years away. In airport world, when you're investing in infrastructure, that's tomorrow. So we're really looking forward to modernizing that agreement, to ensuring that we can continue to serve Toronto and the region for connectivity, as well as being able to make the investments in things like the runway and safety area and future green investments as well.
Okay, a lot on your plate then.
There's a few things.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Warren.
Thank you very much.